Welcome to Lumiere. This twisted-looking Paris is where our blind playthrough starts. No trophy guides, no trophy lists, and no idea what this game is about. It's also where we meet Robert Pattinson, aka Gustav. He is the guardian of 16-year-old Maëlle. We're off to find Sophie, an old flame of Gustav's, and Maëlle is eager to get there.
Let's go. I'll accompany you there.
God damn, she's quick.
I'm fast as fuck, boy. Still fast as fuck, boy.
As we meet some new characters and get to take control of Sophie, the environment and NPC conversations create a sense of intrigue. The game slowly drops information that I'm desperate to piece together. I want to move forwards to uncover more, but also not miss anything in the potential conversations and environment. 0 trophies in, and I'm already starting to get hooked. Of course though, in my eagerness to find out what's going on and reach our destination, I missed going over here, and would find out later that I'd already made trophy mistake number 1.
What an idiot. What an idiot. What a total idiot.
That was the least of my concerns though, as after only 45 minutes of playing, we got hit with our first little gut punch. We get introduced to the Paintress, who changes the number on this monolith from 34 to 33, and proceeds to Thanos snap everyone that age or older out of existence, including our Sophie.
Emotional damage.
If I thought I was hooked before, I was now all in on this story. It was time to gear up as Gustav, say our farewells to Lumiere, and go hunt down this Paintress bitch. That introduction also nabbed us our first trophy, which meant we were now locked in. I was ready to tackle whatever lay ahead. Despite spending so little time with these characters, I already felt an affinity towards Gustav and wanted to avenge Sophie's death. But things got off to a terrible start. This old man showed up, decapitated the expedition leader, instigated what appears to be a massacre of everyone, and left us for dead, only to wake up later in Spring Meadows. Alone with no idea with what just happened, we ventured forth and found our first battle of the game. Now, a quick rundown of the actual gameplay. It's turn-based with a real-time twist. You pick attacks, skills, items, or free aim on your turn, depending on what the battle calls for. However, on the enemy's turn, you're not just passively watching like in pretty much every other turn-based game I've played. No, here you get the option to either dodge, or with even more precise timing, parry enemy attacks. I sucked at both of these things in this battle. Fortunately, we're still in tutorial level battles, so I was able to take down the Neveron and move forward. With the rest of the expedition seemingly massacred, Gustav decides what's the point of going on. Imagine if that was actually the end. No, we get stopped by Lune, a fellow expeditioner who joins our party. The mission is to find any other survivors at the rendezvous point. With Lune, we unlock a different approach to battles. She can apply elemental stains to enemies, and this added variety creates new strategic approaches. But they're not really that necessary this early on, and we beat down another Neveron. I want to explore every nook and cranny of this beautiful environment that Sandfall Interactive have crafted. And I do, taking my time moving forward to our destination. We take down a number of Neverons and start to get a bit better with the dodge and parry mechanics. Who am I kidding? I still suck. For real though, I am gaining more confidence. Well, I was, until we came across this mine. Oh no, wow. Okay, he packs a punch. It doesn't take much damage, alright, it's all on you, Gustav. Yeah, fuck you, bitch. Alright, we took 1 hit. What the fuck can I do to him? That does more than 10 damage. Ooh, 15. Oh, no, fuck. It won't be the first time I'm left ruining the presence of a mime, but more on that later. We eventually reach our rendezvous point and encounter our first boss battle. This is where we break our first enemy and pick up the time to spill some ink trophy. With the boss down, we find a message directing us to a new area, which means our time here is done and we pick up the Spring Meadows trophy. We traverse the overworld to make it over to Flying Waters, which is a weird underwater but not underwater type area. After a string of fights, we get transported to an old manor where we find Maëlle safe and sound thanks to the guardianship of the curator. I was made another new friend too, Noko. What the fuck? Boss fight? What the fuck is this? He's a paintbrush. She joins our party and we learn her battle mechanics. She fights with stances, 1 for attack, 1 for defense, and 1 for triple damage. Between that and actually landing a few parries, we finally claw our way out of Flying Waters and snag another story trophy. At camp, we can upgrade weapons and spend Lumina on Pictos. They're little abilities that give powerful buffs and synergies. Later, these will be the difference between this boss is impossible and this boss gets evaporated in one turn. But for now, I just slap on whatever I think looks cool and hope for the best, picking up a couple of trophies with it. We push through the ancient sanctuary and into the gestural village, Noko's home. This is where we run into another expedition survivor, CL. She joins the party and suddenly we've got 4 characters but only 3 battle slots, so I'm constantly having to swap people in and out. CL brings Sun and Moon abilities that can charge up for huge damage, and with her on board, we're finally strong enough to meet this guy.
Bonjour, mes amis.
Esquier is a giant floating balloon creature that looks like he wandered in from the Fifth Element. He's also peak comic relief.
But Flory was stolen by my arch nemesis, one whose every step shakes the foundation of the world, the one known as François.
Okay.
Francois. He offers to sail us over the sea to the next area if we find his precious rock. So off we go to the Stonewall Cliffs. We beat down a boss, grab his rock, and then everything falls apart.
Like I always say, it's not about the rock. It's more about...
Whoa.
Gustav.
No, he's not dead, is he?
Run.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Who the fuck's this? Oh, it's the old man again. Fuck! Fuck, he's dead. It's sad music, he's dead. A mystery man called Verso shows up to at least stop Mael dying, but he can't stop the death of Gustav. To help me grieve Gustav's death, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that hype button, you know, the new one, if you're on mobile, down here, have a look, please, thanks. Losing Gustav this early hits hard. He's been our anchor since Lumiere, and suddenly Mael's protector is just gone. From here on out, the story and the journey of this platinum are all about how Mael and the rest of the crew can carry on without him. In his place, we have Verso, shrouded in his own mysteries. Who is he? Where did he come from?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
All I know for now is that we have another new combat mechanic with him. He can rank up from D to S with successful hits, parries, and dodges, with higher ranks giving damage buffs. Upon our first S rank, we get the Perfection Trophy, and it helps us cruise through another area to meet Verso's mate, Monoko. He joins us, which completes our party, giving us another trophy. Monoko is the most unique mechanic in the whole game, and it takes a second to wrap your head around. When you use certain skills, they move a pointer around a wheel that changes his active mask. With the right mask and skill combo, you can get some pretty good buffs. With our party full, our band of expeditioners heads to Old Lumiere to steal the Paintress's heart. If we can destroy her heart, we can break through the barrier around her. Cue even more drama, and this time it's full-on family soap opera. The old man? His name's Renoir, and he's Verso's dad. This masked girl who keeps showing up in Mael's dreams, that's Verso's sister, Alicia. It's extremely Days of Our Lives, but make it French JRPG, and I'm kinda here for it. Then we hit our toughest fight so far, Renoir himself. I'd love to say I handled it like a pro and beat him first try. Okay, not a bad first attempt. I can't get these timings down, man. He's tough. I fucking hate that attack. Stupid fucking prick. I'm so fucking done with this old man. That stupid attack. Fuck. Yeah, skill issue. We do eventually take him down, but he escapes with the Paintress's heart. At least we pick up the old Lumiere trophy on the way out. Plan B is much trickier. We need to hunt down 2 of 3 Axons, these giant creatures made to protect the Paintress. If successful, we can turn their hearts into a weapon strong enough to pierce the barrier. Between Axon hunts, we keep circling back to camp. This is where we level up our relationships, upgrade gear, and adjust our builds, including the setups I was half randomizing earlier. There's also this little menu option to check up on the others. I assumed it was just another way of talking to people, and I never clicked it. Huge mistake. That's trophy mistake number 2, and I didn't even realise until after I'd finished the game. The good news is we're still picking up plenty of trophies along the way. Hitting level 33, chaining 4 of Monoko's powered up skills in a row, and even beating a boss without taking any damage. Somewhere in here, the dodges and parries are starting to really click.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
After taking down both Axons, we earn their trophies, and more importantly, carve ourselves a path straight to the Paintress. With our new weapon in hand, we finally break through the barrier and square up to the Paintress. After a few turns of doing absolutely zero damage, a path opens up inside the monolith and we grab the monolith trophy on the way in. The next hour is basically a greatest hits tour through everything we've already beaten. Each section of the monolith mirrors a previous area, just tougher. It really starts to feel like we're climbing towards something final. And at the top, of course, is Renoir. Again. This second Renoir fight is rough. He's got new attacks, so my muscle memory from the first fight is completely evaporated, and it takes a few attempts to get him down. When we finally do, he starts to recover thanks to his immortality. Oh yeah, I don't think I even mentioned that before. He's immortal. But the curator steps in and helps us finish him off for good. With Renoir dealt with, it's finally Paintress time. She hits hard. If I thought Renoir was bad, this takes things up a notch. Just as I start to learn her timings and whittle her down, the game hits me with a second phase. More learning, more panic dodges, more blaming the controller for things hitting me that clearly I dodged with expert timing. When I finally do beat both phases, surprise, there's a third phase. Mercifully, phase 3 is a non-combat phase, so we're allowed to actually win for once. We bring the Paintress down, Lumiere is saved, and we roll credits. Yeah, psych again, that's just the end of Act 2. Back in Lumiere, everyone's celebrating. Verso is reading a letter from Alicia, and then everyone gets Thanos snapped, including our entire party. This is where the game drops all the lore on you all at once, so here's the short version. The world we've been in for the last 20-ish hours, it's a painted world, a kind of alternative dimension inside a canvas. In the real world, Verso painted it, but he died years ago sacrificing himself to save his sister Alicia from a fire. The Paintress is his mother, so she locked herself inside the painting out of grief to live with a version of her son that never died. The curator we've known all game, he's actually the real Renoir from outside the painting, Verso's dad. The one we've been fighting over and over is his painted counterpart, created to protect the Paintress. And Maëlle? She is Alicia, except her memories of the real world were blocked. Now those memories come back, she gets a slick new hair colour, and she can re-enter the painting as someone who remembers both worlds. Alicia in reality, Maëlle in the painting. Oh, and also this is Clair, the sister. If that made your brain hurt a bit, same. But in the moment and actually watching this be revealed over 10-15 minutes, it completely sold me on seeing this platinum through to the end.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
At this point, our mission becomes simple. Stop the real Renoir. He's hellbent on destroying the painted world, stop his wife coming back to it and completely breaking after spending so long outside of reality. With Maëlle realizing she's actually Alicia, she can now literally rewrite the painting, and the first thing she does is bring our whole party back. We explore the overworld and a few optional areas to level up, and then fight our way through Lumiere and Renoir's creations on the road to one last showdown. Of course, the final Renoir fight is brutal. There was no hope of a first attempt victory here. But honestly, I didn't really want to beat him straight away. I knew I still had tons of trophies left to clean up, but finishing this fight meant really finishing the story. I was so emotionally invested in this group and in the way the game handles grief and loss that I didn't want to let go. Eventually though, Renoir has to go. When he's down, Maëlle is left with a choice. Destroy the canvas or keep it in place where she never got burned and disfigured. I went and picked the selfish ending. Maëlle basically becomes her own Paintress, creating a world where she's surrounded by the people she cares about, including a new Gustav, and she's in control. I'm pretty sure I picked the bad ending, but it felt right in the moment. Either way, it's an ending, and we grab the end trophy and move into the post-game cleanup. First order of business, maxing out relationships with the whole party. That mostly means hanging around camp, chatting with everyone over and over again, and finishing a few character-specific side quests. While we're out on those errands, we scoop up all the Lost Gestrels for the Lost Gestrels trophy, and pick up aiding the enemy for finishing side quests given by special Nevrons scattered around the world. By the time everyone hits level 7 friendship, we've unlocked all the relationship trophies, and, thanks to Esquier being at full bestie status, all his traversal abilities too. That finally opens every corner of the overworld and unlocks the serious post-game content. We kick things off with a couple of optional bosses, Chromatic Patank and Sprong. Thanks to our level and the builds we've put together, neither of them puts up much of a fight and we grab their trophies without too much drama. Now I was ready to study patterns, learn parry windows and deal with some monstrous super boss. But no. The thing that really derails me next is a set of dumb fucking minigames. The Gestrels have put together 5 fun events for us. Beach volleyball is fine once you get used to the timing and the clunky movement. The race course is straightforward once you know the route. The obstacle course takes a few attempts because this game is absolutely not a platformer and has no right to include a platforming minigame. Wall climbing is just irritating, trying to weave between 3 columns and reach the top without getting hit. Annoying but doable. Where everything completely falls apart is the climbing event. I'll just let the footage speak for itself. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, not again. These mechanics are fucking shit. I don't even know why I didn't jump there. No, why? Ah! Oh, this is going to be frustrating. Why is he not jumping? Oh, we're all the way to the bottom. Great. Okay. Well, I don't get it. Okay. Oh, no. I wonder if we can get across these. Nope. Why won't you jump, Verso? Ah! I fucking hate that statue. Oh, yeah. Why doesn't he jump? I have legit give up. Eventually we make it to the top, and with all 5 games beaten, we get the Gestrel Games trophy. Finally. As frustrating as that was, you know what would really make that trophy worth it? If you, sat right there, would just hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. Thank you, hope you enjoy the rest of the video. We pick up a few more miscellaneous combat trophies while exploring the overworld, including hitting level 66, which is 2/3 of the way to level 99 for the Survivor trophy. We're getting there, albeit slowly. We start running into the toughest post-game bosses, with Serpentfair up first. Its whole gimmick is draining our action points, so we can't fire off the big damage skills we've been relying on. The first attempt goes exactly how you'd expect. Terribly. It's back to the lab for a little tweaking. If we can't use big damage skills after it sucks our AP, then we'll just have to remove most of its health before it even gets a turn. QV1 of my big damage Mael build. With so little HP left, we're able to clean up and get the Aon trophy. With our various rewards from all our battles, we get Mael's weapon fully upgraded for the Weapon Mastery trophy. That's going to matter in about 5 minutes. There's a bit of work to do at the Flying Manor to reach our next boss. 4 mini-bosses to unlock the doors. 1, 2, 3, and 4. No problem. And behind the doors, Painted Clair, Verso and Mael's sister. There's a lot of extra lore here that I'm not going to unpack in full, but seriously, if you play this game, do the post-story content. It makes an already exceptional narrative feel even more complete. As for the fight, I've heard Clair can be brutal because she regenerates health. But when you've been tweaking big damage Mael as obsessively as I have, Clair goes down instantly. That's her trophy in the bag, and we're off to the Endless Tower. The Endless Tower isn't so endless. It's 11 stages with 3 trials per stage. Each trial is a multi-enemy battle of escalating difficulty, with bosses returning in harder variations of themselves. I'd actually started this earlier on, and while the first few stages were child's play, I'd needed multiple attempts to scrape through some of the later ones. I hadn't got Mael anywhere near her current build at the time, so I was relying on working out dodges and parries to take these bosses down. By the time I'd got to stage 10, I just couldn't do it without losing my mind, so I left. I went and did everything else you've already seen, came back stronger, came back confident. I was no longer confident, I was no longer strong. I was delusional. Mael might be able to one-shot an enemy at the start, but if there's still 1 or 2 others left, it means I really need to get better at dodging and parrying. We grind our way through stage 10 and then hit another wall in stage 11, trial 1. I can't even one-shot the duelist with Mael, so I've got 3 enemies worth of attack patterns to learn. I saw this failed screen more times than I care to count or admit. But thanks to Lune being a regen and revive queen, plus my revive items, we were able to chip away and finally get this fight down to just the Mask Keeper. 1 perfect sequence of parries later, and the ladies were able to unleash a counterattack to take down the Mask Keeper and march on to trial 2 of this final stage. Our trio of women make a huge dent in this second trial. A Mael one hit followed by some Lune revival and regen magic took it down to 1 enemy. Our reserve duo of Verso and Monoko chipped away, with Monoko basically being there to keep reviving our glass cannon Verso. Then he steals the glory by making the final hit on our 1 HP enemy. And then we hit the final trial. Of course it's got to be the Paintress and Renoir together. Painted Love. A duo boss sharing 1 health bar. A very large health bar. This is where my one-shot attack stops being a one-shot and becomes more like a three-shot. Even Lune can't keep up with the amount of revives and regen we need to survive. It was time to build my L version 2, a complete review of all her Luminas to end up with a bigger, badder one-shot. I was ready to unleash it all on Painted Love. Shit. Yeah, there's a 9,999 damage cap until you unlock a Pictos to remove that cap. Donkey Brains here forgot to include it in the build. Equipping it now would mean unequipping something else to free up points. I couldn't really find a way to make a proper version 2, so I did what all great trophy hunters do. Ran away and worked on something else. After all, there are collectibles to be found.
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you are dirt! You make me sick, you big baby!
So off we go collecting journals, stories of failed expeditions past, and I love them. Collectibles are usually a chore, but when they actually add to the world and lore, they become these little nuggets of joy. The second collectible is music records. And as I started cleaning these up, I realised something. I've made a huge mistake. Remember earlier when I said we'd made 2 trophy mistakes? Here they are. Mistake number 1. At the very start of the game, I didn't explore this corner of Lumiere, remember? That means I missed an optional fight with a mime. There's a trophy for beating the mime, but more importantly, it drops a music record. A missable record. Mistake number 2. I never once selected check in with others at camp because I assumed it was the same as just talking to people, remember? Well, that option triggers a time-sensitive cutscene, which rewards another music record. So yeah, you've probably come to the same conclusion I did. We need to replay the entire game. And it gets worse. There's also a music record for beating the Endless Tower, which means we have to beat the Endless Tower again in a future run. Don't you just love trophy hunting? I would have happily come back for a replay in a year or 2 when I was ready to feel things again, but no. The Platinum demands it now. For now, all I can do is finish collecting the journals, which I do, leaving a couple for later. After a few hours of exploring, leveling up and picking up new Pictos, I finally rebuild my L properly, with the damage cap Lumina equipped this time. We immediately take about 75% of Painted Love's health bar down, but I still suck at dodges and parries. A couple of minor tweaks for version 2.1 and we get real close. We're using Miles solo for a 50% damage boost, so when she goes down, we send in the reserve team to mop up this tiny slither of health. And we fuck it up. God help us when we play Elden Ring. Take 2, Mael gets them low, and this time, the reserve team actually do their job. We complete the Endless Tower and pop the Endless Trophy. It's time for the final optional boss, the one we need to beat for one of our final journals and for the boss trophy itself. 2 trophies locked behind the ultimate endgame boss. His name strikes fear into the uninitiated. I am, of course, talking about the one, the only.
Simon.
Yes, Simon. Who the hell would be scared of someone named Simon? Not Mael, that's for sure. Mael doesn't even let Simon have an attack. An easy victory, and actually, disappointing post-game boss. I definitely expected there to be more to this fight. Being able to one-shot a boss this late in is... oh. Of course there's a phase 2. And of course our one-hit shot no longer does 1 hit. Not even close. Looks like we need to parry our way out. Oh, okay, perhaps not. Simon has some ridiculous attacks, and trying to parry and dodge all of these is going to take a long time. Luckily, we have Lune in our reserve team for the regen, but more importantly, Simon can remove dead bodies from the battlefield. Cool. Cool. Back to the drawing board. This time it's Mael version 3, but with added support from Verso and CL to debuff Simon and buff Mael. The first phase wasn't a concern, I knew we could take that version of Simon down easily. The question is, does all this set up for Mael's attack do enough damage on phase 2 of Simon?
Nope.
Failed again, but only kind of this time. One of Mael's Luminas is Roulette, a 50-50 chance to do either 50% damage or 200% damage. So I'm praying to the paintress herself that we rolled the 50% hit. Time to try again. Set up the buffs, stack the deck in Mael's favour, and boom, one-shot second phase Simon. We secure his trophy and our penultimate journal. To finish off the journals, we retrieve this Desandra family portrait and return it to its rightful place in the manor, allowing us access to the final journal and the Follow the Trail trophy. Just a couple things left to do now before we have to head over to New Game Plus. The first is unlocking all of Minoko's skills, which means we have to beat one of every Neveron with Minoko in the active party upon victory. We need quite a few of these as he's been in the backup party most of our playthrough, but there's nothing taxing here and we get the trophy pretty easily. The final thing to clean up are the painting workshops. We need to do a little more platforming here, which irritates the hell out of me, and then there are some mini bosses at the end. They're all simple enough, and that gets us the Noir et Blanc trophy. As I load up New Game Plus, I can't help but feel a sense of sadness that there's nothing really new left for me in this world. It's nice being back with Gustav for a while, and we use him to beat that hidden mime in Lumiere for the Peculiar Encounter trophy. It also gets us our first music record. I've loved every minute I've spent with this game. I finished it about 6 months ago before making this video, and writing this script now with a bit of distance, I genuinely think it's the best video game story I've ever experienced. The combat's incredible, the party building and tweaking is addictive, the party's synergy is so satisfying once it all clicks together. It's Game of the Year for very good reason in my opinion. Now, usually I hate when a Platinum forces a New Game Plus because of missables, but here I didn't mind at all. I turned recording off for most of New Game Plus because I just wanted to enjoy the world without a mic. And even though our MyL build turns New Game Plus into a one-shot fest, I didn't care. The Platinum experience forced me to spend as much time as possible in this world and see every corner of it. New Game Plus also gave me an excuse to see the other ending. This time I chose to expel MyL from the canvas as Verso, forcing her to face the real world. Beating her gets us the last music record for the Connoisseur trophy, and we finally got to witness the DeSandra family all together in the real world. Coming together at Verso's grave, hopefully finally moving forward on their path of loss and grief together. This was definitely the good ending. It would have also been a real fitting end to the Platinum. But there's one more trophy. And of course I had to have a little minor nitpick at the end. The dreaded XP farm. Even after doing everything, completing the story twice, we're only level 93. We need to hit level 99. We head over to this high XP area and spend about 90 minutes of farming the same 3 battles over and over again. It's mind-numbing stuff. When I'm down to only needing one more fight's worth of XP, I decide this is not how I want to get the Platinum. Let's go out in style and pay New Game Plus Simon a visit. Can he still withstand MyL? The answer is an emphatic no. With Simon comfortably beaten once again, we get to level 99, unlock the Survivor trophy, and most importantly, pop our Platinum. The greatest expedition in history. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe for the next one. And if the hype button is still available on this upload, it genuinely helps the channel a ton. If you want to see some suffering, Crash Bandicoot 4 is right here. And YouTube thinks you'll like this video too. I'll see you guys in the next one.